It's coming live from the 215. It's your boy ROCKIN REESE bringing you another edition of Wcc Ring Rockers, the show where the music and the wrestling talk never stop. And ladies and gentlemen, today we are coming at a crossroads. Yeah, we're already halfway through the year, but you still got another half to go. And usually, when summer arrives, that's usually a turning point for the wrestling business. So that's what we're going to look at today. First of all, I just want to say hey to all of our callers right there. They're just coming in. Guys, I'm going to have to ask you to bear with us today because, we are experiencing a few minor technical difficulties. So just going to have to ask that you bear with us here. Get into the event center, and I'm going to get into the event center first, then I'm going to try and fly through this as quickly as I can. Hopefully I don't lose anybody. All right, because we have 7 events that I'm going to get through, and I'm going to try and speed through these because we have a couple that are actually tomorrow night. So let me get through these real quick. Tomorrow night, July 18th, United Wrestling Association presents UWA action at the Blackstock, 940 Blackstock Avenue in Knoxville, Tennessee. Bell time is 7:30, and ticket admission is $6. In action, Brad Cash will defend the UWA heavyweight title against the Rep. For the UWA Tennessee title, Travis Sawyer will defend against Spoonie Mac. For the UWA Tag Team titles, the Money Shot Mafia will defend against the Dynasty. In singles action, the Natural Chief Stevens will go one-on-one with the Wild-Eyed Southern Boy Tracy Smothers. Shane Andrews will compete in singles action against everybody knew Sean Schultz. Chase Owens will be in singles action against Sigma, and Jason Max will go one-on-one with Octavius Black. To learn more about United Wrestling Association, check them out at uwaprowrestling.com or hit them up on Twitter at UWA Wrestling. That's United Wrestling Association tomorrow, July 18th at the Blackstock, 940 Blackstock Avenue in Knoxville, Tennessee at 7:30 p.m. Also tomorrow night, Santino Brothers Wrestling will be at 5640 Shoal Street, Unit F, in Bell Gardens, California, 90201. Bell time for this event is 8:30 p.m., and ticket admission is $10. In the main event, Los Bandidos will take on Che Cabrera and Bruno Santana, a.k.a. La Raza. Mr. Tonka will go one. Ray Sarovich will go one-on-one with Mikey O'Shea. Sean Black will be in singles action against Ali Hussein. Lucha Machine will go one-on-one with Fern Owens. And SoCal Crazy will go one-on-one with The Rock Superstar Chaos. And in ladies action, Mariah Moreno will go one-on-one with Jezebel Romo. To learn more about Santino Brothers Wrestling, you can check them out at santinobros.net or hit them up on Twitter at Wrestling School. That's Santino Brothers Wrestling tomorrow night, July 18th, from 6640 Shell Street, Unit S, Bell Gardens, California, 90201. And we'll have more events coming up later on throughout the show. Right now, we just want to jump into our topic of the day. Like I said, we are midway through the calendar year of 2013, and wrestling is coming at its turning point. And right now, what I'm going to do is, if we have any callers online, I'm just going to ask them to introduce themselves real quick, and then we'll get into the discussion. Lou?
Oh, I was going to be nice to everybody, but, apparently, maybe not. Captain Ron making his Wcc Ring Rocker debut. Finally get to have a chance. I'll hear the show. Can't wait to get into it.
All right. What's going on, Captain?
Hey, boys.
Yeah. Now, I got a question. What do you look at as far as concerns that you may have for the wrestling landscape as we approach the second half of 2013?
Honestly, I think it's pretty much the releases, all these future endeavors that have just been coming out of the woodworks as far as TNA goes. I mean, they say they're not a sinking ship, but their roster is dropping like flies. I mean, they dropped pretty much almost everybody from Gut Check. They just released Tara. They just released D'Lo Brown. Bruce Pritchard's on his way out. With all these people that pretty much have been keeping that company rolling in quote-unquote Jeff Jarrett's absence, it's kind of pretty much at this point where do we even know TNA will even make it to Bound for Glory? Right now, at this point, they're on the road pretty much all the time, so they need all the superstars they can get, and they keep future endeavoring people pretty much daily. And as far as WWE goes, the storylines are getting stale. I mean, it's the same things they were doing last year. I mean, obviously, these plants are going off on the deep end about the whole John Cena this, John Cena that being WWE champion. They're getting turned off by it. But then the minute that it's announced that John Cena will face Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, and of course CM Punk battles Brock Lesnar, people start going, "Oh wow, this should be a great pay-per-view." What in the world happened between the beginning of Monday night, or should I say the end of Money in the Bank, and the end of Monday Night Raw? Because people completely did a 180, and it really bugs me of how they just all of a sudden jumped on this whole, seeing in another main event bandwagon.
Yeah, you know what? You got to. Oh, sorry about this.
Yeah, let Doug talk now.
Sorry, Doug.
I'm waiting. But Ron, you missed the one on the TNA thing. They let go of Doc. So you missed the one on that one. As far as for the England hype for SummerSlam, I think the thing is, everybody's been wanting to see Punk versus Brock Lesnar since Brock came back. As far as for Daniel Bryan, he's the Cinderella story because he pretty much started on the Independents, Ring of Honor, which I know ROCKIN will let me get to later, and now he should be WWE champion. A lot of people want to see that happen. I mean, that's two reasons why SummerSlam will be big this year, because of maybe Daniel Bryan wins the belt, and maybe Brock Lesnar finally gets put in his place.
And that could be true, but funny you mention it, just because there is one little party that could spoil everything, because as we all know, 2 years ago, we thought CM Punk was going to leave SummerSlam with the title, and thanks to a surprise appearance from Kevin Nash, that allowed Alberto Del Rio to cash in and walk out with the gold instead. So, are we afraid that history may repeat itself again? Should Randy Orton find a vulnerable position somewhere between John Cena and Daniel Bryan?
Well, there is some breaking. Oh, sorry.
Well, first of all, for ROCKIN, that wasn't Kevin Nash. That was Super Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. As far as for Randy Orton cashing in, I would say yes, but with the divorce case coming up next week, which is probably why he's injured, wink, wink, I don't see him cashing in at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm. I see Orton cashing in at SummerSlam. Mainly because in the event that Daniel Bryan beats John Cena and becomes a WWE champion, what better way to sit here and spark up that rivalry between Orton and Bryan again? Because they had some pretty damn good matches. Even you guys got to admit that they had some damn good matches.
Mhm. They did.
And I'll tell you what, like I said, Randy Orton plays a real big wild card for the next year, because let's admit it, he's even said it. He's been 2 years out of the title picture. And it's like, I have a funny feeling that the first opportunity he gets or creates, he's going to cash in that Money in the Bank. And it was like, so from now on, anybody that has that title for the next year pretty much has to hope that they don't get laid out to the point where they're vulnerable enough that Orton successfully cashes in.
I still go with Randy Orton cashes in at TLC.
Yeah, but why would he cash it in at TLC?
Well, when the champion's at his weakest, you want to make sure he's weak, he can't fight. TLC would be one of the two best pay-per-views. The other one would be Elimination Chamber.
What about Hell in a Cell? The one that's pretty much in the middle in between SummerSlam and TLC, Survivor Series. You know, you never know. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a title match. What if the champ is pretty much beaten up so badly at Hell in a Cell or Survivor Series that, poof, out comes the Viper.
I think the problem with Hell in a Cell is everyone would expect him to cash it in then. Because It would make the most sense. Well, TLC, you don't know what kind of match it would be. I mean, if it's a ladder match or a chairs match or a tables match, he has a better shot. Plus, and here's the other problem with Hell in a Cell. If it's done correctly, I mean, I just couldn't see it just because it would make too much sense. It would be too much of a WWE being predictable. While TLC, I don't think we ever seen a cash-in happen on that night. And Elimination Chamber, yeah, it would be predictable, but it would definitely change up WrestleMania.
If I'm not mistaken, it's been, Elimination Chamber, SmackDown, and Raw that have been like the three main places that have pretty much had cashed-ins. I know CM Punk pretty much cashed in after the nice little ladder match between Jeff Hardy and I believe Edge a few years back. And I think that's the only time that those three main shows have not actually been used as far as a Money in the Bank cash in. But in all fairness, when it comes down to it, the unpredictability is Randy Orton's already dangerous when you don't know when he's coming on Raw or SmackDown for that matter. But when you throw in that concept that he has that briefcase in his possession and he has up to a year to cash that thing in, it just pretty much makes him even more dangerous. And that could play out to be a very, very, very bad thing for whoever is going to be WWE champion. I mean, I honestly don't see, unless they really honestly want to run that course, I don't really see John Cena being WWE champion for the remainder of the year, or at least for, all intents purposes until TLC. But Randy Orton, this will probably turn the floodgates if Daniel Bryan is not WWE champion after SummerSlam. That's just first off. And second, if John Cena is WWE champion by the end at the end of the year, I'm thinking people are going to start wanting to change that channel because those anti-Cenas will start up again until another great technical mechanic with the caliber of Daniel Bryan steps up and says, "I can take you." Not a Mark Henry, not a Ryback, and in all fairness, not even a Sheamus, but another technician with the caliber of Daniel Bryan has to step in and basically get people to want to pay more attention to the fact of John Cena being WWE champion.
Then I'll flip back to the TNA section. I'm sorry, but I wanted to flip back to the TNA section for a moment because tomorrow night, as we know, Destination X coming up, and of course we know we got the big one, Chris Sabin, after 10 years, finally gets his chance to go after the World Championship. And I was like, and I'm going to be honest with this one. Would it be all right to give Sabin at least a temporary run as champion?
It won't happen.
It would be good, but yes. I would say it worked out great, especially with the Bound for Glory series, and obviously I remember Aces and Eights Anderson in that series because it would make things even better with Chris Sabin. If Chris Sabin defeats Bully tomorrow night and becomes world champion, could you imagine the magnitude if Anderson comes out of nowhere, takes the lead, wins the BFG series, and all of a sudden becomes that number one contender? It would either push Anderson, who pretty much everybody didn't really expect to come back after the number of injuries that he has pretty much had. It would basically make things even more interesting between the Prez and the VP in regards to Bully regaining control of that title back. So yeah, I'd say give that belt to Chris Sabin. He's one of those guys who's literally scratched and clawed his way to get there. Multiple time tag team champion, multiple time division champion, never been the world champion, and I think this would be a perfect culmination of his service and his service, his tenure, and his dedication to TNA, when he could have easily sat here and went to that company up north at any given moment, because I'm pretty sure they would have loved to have a talent like Chris Sabin on their roster.
Yeah, Chris Sabin ain't winning tomorrow night.
Yeah, because I don't think so too, because just like with our whole, like with the Money in the Bank situation, it's like Destination X, the X Division title was your like Money in the Bank to at least a title shot at Destination X, and it's like, yeah, we saw it work with Aries last year. It was like, yeah, at some point, Oscar.
Look how unpredictable that was from last year, when Aries was given was basically given those options, and throughout this curveball that pretty much worked out to his advantage. I mean, he beat a guy that literally beat everybody on the roster. He beat Sting, I believe twice. He beat James Storm, even though it was a kind of a really oddballish way of retaining that title. He took on almost everyone of a who's who in regards to basically TNA's top contenders, and defeated them all, and pretty much had been the longest tenured reigning defending TNA heavyweight champion in history. Granted, it's no big accumulation compared to CM Punk's, but it's still pretty damn good considering how quick that title can change in TNA. But everybody loves a good underdog story, and what bigger underdog story than for Chris Sabin to do what Jeff Hardy couldn't do, to do what Sting couldn't do, and Sting's beaten them all, he's met them all, he's dominated them all. And for Chris Sabin to come out there and shock the world and defeat Bully Ray would literally send shockwaves to the rest of the world, would probably most likely, in all fairness, have people tuning over to TNA a lot more than sitting here tuning over to, we'll say, Burn Notice and Graceland on USA. They would literally want to tune in over to Spike and be like, oh my God, this little kid just beat that.
Ron, I do agree with you, but I've been saying that as much as I love Sabin, there's no way he's winning that belt tomorrow night. For two reasons. One, I've been firmly saying this, it's going to be a main event Mafia member winning the belt. And we had two of them in the Bound for Glory series. I've already said one of them would be champion. Two, did you forget who's running it? The one who's running are the same people who pretty much pissed on the Cruiserweight division in WCW. You really think Hogan's going to want to put the title on a Cruiserweight again, like he did with Austin Aries, who's not your typical Cruiserweight?
I think basically you have to think outside. You have to think outside the box if you're Hogan. You pretty much have gotten a lot of negative media attention because of all the future endeavors that's been going on just in the past few days. Because you got rid of a lot of young talent, a lot of young up and coming talent. I mean, Christian York was on a roll, and he got future endeavor. Taylor Hendricks never really got a chance to actually shine the way she wanted to shine, but when she was shining, her star was bright. And the fact that pretty much they just got rid of D'Lo, Pritchard's pretty much out of the door, and of course you said Doc, which kind of made last week's little VP vote make more sense. And it kind of seems like Hogan would need Sabin to defeat Bully, because everybody's tired of this Ace and H storyline. They like the fact of, the whole concept, but at the same time, they're tired of the fact of them always finding a way to sit here and get the job done. They don't want another NWO story. They don't want another evolution story. They don't want another, in all honesty, dare I say it, they don't want another Darkness or Unit or Shield story where basically it ends up that one group is so unstoppable that they cannot be beaten for a year or 2 years, 3 years. They want something that basically says that even the underdog, that every dog may have his day, but all the underdog needs is one night. And Saban made it clear last week when he cashed that title in. All he needs is one match. And if he can do what he has pretty much done his entire career, which is defy the odds, come back from two dangerous career-threatening knee injuries, and win that world title, that would send the ratings through the roof. Not just the fact that it's Destination X, because that's always, in my opinion, one of their better pay-per-views besides Slammiversary and BFG. But Destination X is a showcase of the X division, the high flyers, the ones that pretty much defy logic. So what better way to defy logic than to have the most unpredictable and never see it coming superstar defeat the so-called immovable force, dominant, dangerous, most powerful champion on the roster right now.
I want to agree with you, but just knowing how Hogan works, I don't see Saban win it as much as I hate saying it.
Yeah, you know, even go back to, since you brought Hogan up, you know, also can this too, like, even if they did, remember what happened when Lex Luger is running roughshod as WCW Golden Boy for, like, the late part of 96? It was like, oh, he finally beat Hogan, like, after, like, almost a year, but then wound up dropping it back to him 5 days later at the Road Wild pay-per-view. And I was like, I could kind of see them doing even that with Saban. It's like, okay, yeah, you have Bully, like, steamroll since lockdown. Saban knocks him off, but then, like, oh, you turn around the very next week, and then it's like, yeah, Bully now winds up knocking him off again and making Saban pretty much a transition champion, if anything else.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. If Saban does win it, I agree. I think it's going to end up like it was for Christian. He'll have it for a few days and then drop it instantly.
And I'm thinking back to one of WCW's most unbelievable pipe bombs. I know that Hogan literally left WCW on some really bad terms. I think it got proven in that quote-unquote match against Jeff Jarrett for the world title, where Jarrett's pretty much laid down and gave Hogan the title and pretty much walked away because he was just so sick of the politics involving Hogan being the top star. But what if, for some crazy reason, because I know that there has been a lot of rumors running rampant about Hogan wanting to step back in the ring for one more match. What if this is Hogan's way of getting at least some kind of payback if Hogan comes out and does one or two things? Either reveals himself as the higher power, because we know Bully Ray isn't the only one pulling the strings in regards to Aces and Eights. He may be becoming the mouthpiece, but I don't think he's the one that's actually pulling the strings and calling the shots with everything. So what if it turns out Hogan's either the higher power, or Hogan comes out and does, I guess, kind of pulls a Vince McMahon and screws him out of the world title, leading up to a match between Bully Ray and Hulk Hogan at, we'll say, Bound for Glory?
Why do you have to give me nightmares?
I know it's a nightmare, and I know it's a fatal nightmare. But the bottom line is that the storyline between Hogan and Bully Ray has to go somewhere. It has to have some kind of ending that will involve one of them pretty much doing something that nobody ever saw coming. And that, I mean, obviously, with the whole Brooke situation, there are people believing that the storyline between Hogan and Bully Ray is going to lead to the Triple H, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Helmsley storyline from many moons ago, when it turned out Stephanie actually was a part of the big giant coup involving Triple H and Vince, and she pretty much helped Triple H defeat Vince and beat him senseless, even worse. So you got all these nice little obstacles, all these possibilities that TNA can just throw at you. But the bottom line is that when it sits there and it comes down to it and the smoke clears, it doesn't get any bigger and any better than that whole concept that this kid could – this could be one of the best injury comeback stories that TNA pretty much could ever throw at people. And it's a good time to do it, especially with the fact of their ratings not being the way they want it to be and the fact that they had all this bad publicity this week. Great way to sit here and get people off that bad publicity. Put that title on somebody that they never thought would ever get it.
Well, then even to go ahead further, and I know we always talk about this a lot, like what's they're going to do, because football season is going to be right around the corner, and it's going to be creeping up on them, and it's like, yeah, and how to put storylines together and make sure if you're going to pull any surprises, how are they going to be able to, how's, like, wrestling world in general going to keep anything a surprise, and, you know, especially as we approach these fall months, and we know that, of course, now Raw and Monday Night Football are going to challenge each other. We know that the NFL Network's going to challenge TNA on the Thursday night.
Which pretty much what it is.
Sunday Night Football.
Any pay-per-views going on pretty much are going to be challenged by Sunday Night Football. And depending on how the game looks, so I'm pretty sure people are probably going to want to mute the game just to keep themselves from making their ears bleed the sound of Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth trying their hardest to make themselves sound relevant again.
Yeah, I don't like those two either, but it's a different story for another day.
Yeah, we can save that for like another uncensored show, maybe a Sunday night NFL bitch slap kind of show or something.
Oh, the main event.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, yeah, it actually makes perfect sense. But in regards to both companies pretty much know for a fact that when fall comes around, we already know what's the big deal going to be. It's obviously going to be the NFL returning. It's going to be the World Series being right around the corner. It's even going to be, you know, hockey and the NBA pretty much getting ready to return as well. So you throw in all of that. These two wrestling companies are going to have to pull out all stops to keep people watching, and that's probably why I don't see John Cena being WWE champion for the entire year, because they're going to want to throw out some kind of story that's going to basically keep people wanting to watch them. And as far as TNA goes, the Ace and Eights thing, the Ace and Eights versus main event Mafia, the only way I really honestly see this one happen is another WCW regurgitation occurring, and it's basically going to be like a three-way, TNA versus main event Mafia versus Aces and Eights. And I believe, Doug, you've been hammering about this thing for God knows how long, a certain thing that you pretty much, your nice little WCC Brawl character has been going off about, even last night. If you need more of a hint than that, I should slap you.
Yeah, I know. I think I know what you mean. AJ's the new Sting.
Yeah, but sorry, Ron.
No, it's good. The biggest thing I've come to honestly realize about this whole thing is that TNA has been talking about, you know, how Ace and Eights is better, and then the main event Mafia returns, and then TNA kind of basically is just stuck in the loop. Right now, at this point, you got a main event Mafia member leading the charge as far as the BFG series goes, but he's got another member of the main event Mafia that's like right there, and it works out well for everybody because they've been wanting to push Magnus, and now Magnus is getting that push. The question is, are they going to give Magnus that high push and then make him drop? Or are they going to basically let this thing play out, have Magnus pretty much dominate this entire thing and actually win this thing? Because James Storm did it last year and then got screwed, and we know how the end result of that story was.
Yeah.
And as far as WWE goes, you're running out of superstars due to injury. It's not even future endeavoring; it's basically due to injury, and you have nobody big that you want to bring back. Even though there are several superstars out there who used to work for you, hint, who could basically bring back some pop, bring back some noise, bring back some energy. I mean, we already have one confirmation as far as WrestleMania goes. We know that there's a certain Hall of Famer who could be making a return at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, here's the problem with that. I know one thing, which has been the biggest rumor of the year, is when's Batista coming back. But telling you now, guys, Batista ain't coming back.
Hasn't that been going on for like 3 years now?
That thing's been going on since pretty much Batista walked out the door and became an MMA fighter. And he's a great MMA fighter. I saw a TV fight. I pretty much downloaded that name into my computer. Suck on it, government. You can't top me. And the biggest thing is that Batista can fight. Even when it's not scripted, he can fight. He proved that one that he can hold his own. And with all these, I mean, Billy has to figure something out, because obviously with all these intriguing questions going on, there's only two big intriguing questions everybody wants to know about. Who's going to be the big returns coming up either at the end of this year or at the Royal Rumble? Because the Royal Rumble is like big for returns. And is The Undertaker going to return before SummerSlam or at SummerSlam?
Yeah, but let me ask this question while we got some time left here. We talked about WWE and TNA, but do you think there's going to be like some major shifts going on the indie scene? And Doug, I know you wanted to hype on the Ring of Honor tournament that's going to be kicking off for the next couple weeks. And actually, I just saw the bracket, and I'm going to be honest, that is going to be a difficult one. That's going to be a difficult one to pull off. Do you think that if this tournament, based on how it progresses, do you think this could finally be the move that can help put ROH, help get it over the top? And maybe lock that national deal that it's been trying to get.
Hell yeah, it could.
It depends who wins it.
It depends who wins it. Nothing. Are you kidding me? Have you seen that? Have you seen this bracket? This bracket is pretty much a who's who.
But here's the thing. Some of the, and this is why I'm saying it depending who wins. The corporate markets, there are two people they don't want to see win this. Kevin Steen, because they don't like him whatsoever. I mean, he got fined more times than anybody when he was champion. And two is Mark Briscoe, just because of the fact that he doesn't have a face for television.
Oh God, jeez, I honestly don't have a face. Have a face for television right now, but
but
honestly,
you know what I mean.
Really, he
doesn't have that marketable face like a Bubba Ray or Cena, whoever you can put on the TV and say that's our type guy. Mark Briscoe. And I said it when Jay was champion. I didn't like him as champion because I didn't believe him as a single star, and I don't believe Mark as a single star. I just don't believe him as that. I firmly believe if you want to get that contract with national television, you either need to make it either Michael Elgin or Jay Lethal.
You took the words right out of my mouth with Jay Lethal. I actually agree with you on Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal's been around the block. Everybody knows Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal is pretty much a household name, and for the record, there has been nobody, not even me, not even anybody else in WCC, that can pull off a better macho man salute than Jay Lethal. Him as Black Machismo was probably one of the most entertaining moments, and for Ric Flair to literally, in a way, pass the torch while he was with TNA to this guy, because pretty much no matter what's going on in Ric Flair's personal life, when a man who pretty much has been here since we were all children literally sits here and shakes your hand and hugs you and salutes you and spits you and passes that torch to you, that is the most honorable symbol of respect and loyalty that you can ever get, because pretty much you can get in anywhere. If Jay Lethal pretty much wins this tournament, that will justify everything that has happened in regards to TNA, and literally it solidifies everything that's happened, because there is nothing better than knowing full well that somebody of a caliber of Jay Lethal, with everything he's done for the wrestling business, both in the indie scene and as well as with TNA, if Jay Lethal does not win this tournament, it's almost like a slap in the face.
You don't want to know who my pick to win this, then, do you?
Who was it?
I have Michael Elgin over Jay Lethal in the finals.
Oh, yeah, the Unbreakable one going. Yeah, the Unbreakable one taking it all.
Yeah,
actually, that would be a pretty solid pick.
He was set.
Although, like I said, there's like a who's who in this one. So,
well, let's run down the tournament card. I mean, I'm sure everyone wants to know who's in it besides Lethal and Elgin.
Let's do it.
Well, the first match is Mark Briscoe taking on the new heel Adam Cole. Should be interesting, too. Very different type of styles. Adam Cole's more of your technician, while Mark Briscoe, anyone who's seen him wrestle, yeah, he's a freaking kung fu redneck idiot. I'm taking Adam Cole from that one.
All right. Yeah, Dougie, I want to say this, but we're getting a signal on our rap show. Can you speak through this one?
Oh, yeah, I
can
speak through this one. Yeah. You also got Jay Lethal taking on Sanjay Dutt. Should be interesting. You also have, I believe, Michael Elgin is taking on the Brian Kendrick. Who else is in this? Tommaso Ciampa's taking on the winner of Adam Page and some dude with a curly mustache, so I'm presuming it's Snydery Whiplash. Michael Burnett taking on B.J. Whitman. And, Ron, do you remember the rest of them?
No, not right off the top of my head. I'll probably have to get in front of my computer to actually take a complete and total look at it.
I can tell you people, Paul London is in this tournament. ACH is in this tournament. Kevin Steen. The TV champion, Matt Taven, is taking on Roderick Strong, who, by the way, is the only one in here who's had all the belts, so that should be interesting. Surprising thing is, though, no American rulers made it into the tournament.
Huh?
So it should be an interesting tournament.
All right, well, we hope we can do this off. But real quickly, before I go, I just want to give a shout-out. And, guys, I'm sorry I couldn't promote all these cards. I want to give a shout-out to Universal Independent Wrestling. They'll be having a show. Matter of fact, all of these shows will be Saturday, July 20th. Universal Independent Wrestling, they'll be at the Hardison County Rec Complex in Buchanan, Georgia. NWA Sports Entertainment Wrestling, they'll present Super Brawl from River Valley High School in Caledonia, Ohio. Prairie Wrestling Alliance will present Summer Heat at the Northgate Lions Rec Center, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Vintage Wrestling will present Gold Rush at the Salvation Army in Sanford, Florida. And Peach State Wrestling Alliance will be at the VFW Fairgrounds in Carrollton, Georgia. And finally, there's Platinum Championship Wrestling. They'll be in Porterdale, Georgia. And it'll be all cards going on Saturday, July 20th. If you want to check out more, I will have more on those cards on the Friday's main event. I want to thank Ron and Doug for calling in tonight. Gentlemen, thank you very much. This was definitely a great conversation. I want to say also, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to check into any of the WCC programs, make sure you check us out on Facebook at Wrestling Commentary Central and the WCC Live page. Hit us up on Twitter at WCC Live. And as always, the number to call in, 760-569-7676. Access code 200446#. And also, you can listen to all of our shows on YouTube. You can check out our channels. They are Spawn 200113 and DXR420. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night for the TNA recipe and find out what happened after Destination X. And next week, it will be a DX night because I will be celebrating the birthdays of those two giants themselves, Triple H and our Break Kid Shawn Michaels, on next week's Ring Rockers. Make sure you guys also check out the main event Friday with our own Doug Barrett, and Monday the Uncensored Show with L, myself, and the rest of the WCC gang. I am ROCKIN REESE, and make sure you keep the music talk and the wrestling talk alive. It's WCC Ring Rockers. I will catch you next Wednesday night. Stay tuned with DJ Gator and Sex Battles coming up next. Keep on slamming and keep it rocking, everybody. Catch you next week.